Welcome to this week's edition of Mountain Outhouse News. I'm your host, Jam Jam. This is the craziest shit to happen in running this week. This week's stories include Western States Weight Watchers, a new Boston Marathon logo, and results of the 113th Dipsea race. The 113th annual Dipsea race took place this past weekend in Mill Valley, California. This is the oldest trail race in America, held since 1905, the second Sunday of June. It's also one of the largest and most unique in the sport. This year saw 1,438 finishers of the race, with 53-year-old Chris Lundy taking the overall win in a clock time of 48 minutes, 10 seconds. Her handicapped actual time was 1 hour, 3 minutes, 9 seconds. Second was Clara Peterson with a 10-minute handicap, finishing in 48:47, and Julia Maxwell Bailey with a 49:21 clock time and 9-minute handicap. The overall fastest time of the day was Eddie Owens, who ran a 49:55 with no handicap, meaning he not only ran that time, but had to pass the entire field en route. Western States Weight Watchers. If you haven't been following the Western States Wait List saga with Tim Tollefson and partner in crime Ryan Thrower, what are you even doing? These guys are patiently biding their time in anticipation of getting the call and stepping up to the start line of the 2024 Western States Endurance Run. There has actually been a flurry of waitlist movement in the past week. This of course means many have pulled out, but we're excited to welcome Christian Landries from Luxembourg, David Cordes from Florence, Kentucky, TJ David from Carbondale, Colorado, John Bauman from Tallahassee, Florida, Jesse Perrigan from Lakewood, Colorado, and Yang Chang Chen from Vancouver, British Columbia, all in the past week. This moves Ryan Thrower, a 32 ticket holder, into third position, and Tim Tollefson, a 2 ticket holder, into 37th. More next week. As the high country melts out and we not only get into prime 100-mile season, we're also on FKT watch for some of the more sought after trails. The king of the carbs, not to be confused with the low carb runner, Kyle Curtin, announced he's taking on the Colorado Trail in 2 weeks' time. We'll be sure to give you updates as that one unfolds. I have a feeling his attempt won't be the only prominent one on the CT this summer. The Boston Marathon has released a redesigned logo to help commemorate a new initiative to support aligned nonprofits alongside Bank of America's partnership. They have remade the unicorn logo into a forward-facing symbol for the Boston Athletic Association's running future. As with most logo redesigns, I'm sure there are lovers and haters. But let's break down a few of the key features. Number 1, determined eye. Spike's eye is alert and focused. Yep, that's the logo's name. Did not know that. Number 2, the Northeast Spike, representing the route from start to finish. Number 3, the athletic jawline. Yep, Spike got orthognathic surgery to better demonstrate the gritty nature of Boston. Number 4, 13 decades. Now featuring 13 points of the main, one for every decade of BAA heritage. For the rest of them, please check out their website and let us know in the comments, do you love it or do you hate it? The 2024 inaugural World Trail Majors had a double header this weekend, with both the Swiss Canyon Trail and South Downs Way taking place. First to Switzerland, where over 2,700 runners took to the trails in Cuvette. The 111-kilometer is considered the premier distance here, and Miguel Arsenio took home the win in a new course record of 10 hours, 24 minutes, 9 seconds. Over on the ladies' side, Marianne Hogan took the win in her first big race since Ultra Trail Cape Town this past November, where she placed second. Marianne was just shy of the course record, but did have a 40-minute win margin in a time of 12:25:51. Next up to England for the South Downs Way race, which takes runners on a 100-mile historic tour of the southern part of the country. Dan Lawson, a local, ended up taking the win in a second-best all-time finish of 14 hours, 27 minutes, and 30 seconds. It was a 19-minute win margin over second place. For the ladies, it was another local, Kat Simpson, taking the victory in 19 hours, 26 minutes, 52 seconds, with a large 52-minute win margin. The next race on the World Trail Major circuit will be the Quebec Mega Trail, July 5th through 7th. Hoka just launched a flagship retail store in New York City, and a trend that I'm anecdotally noticing popping up more and more. Many brands who previously only sold through specialty and big box retailers, and showcasing the importance of brand identity not only through their partners' online presence and how they show up at events, but also in a full-fledged retail in-person experience. The NYC store is located at 579 Fifth Ave, and their launch featured appearances from a good number of pro athletes, brand ambassadors, and the one and only Dude with Sign. I'd expect to see more brands launching flagship retail experiences over the coming years to better connect with their consumers. The oldest and largest ultramarathon in the world, Comrades, celebrated its 97th running this past weekend, which began its history in 1921. Over 20,000 runners took to the streets of Durban, South Africa for this historic event. We saw a legendary run from defending champ Gerda Stein, who set a new course record in this year's Up direction in a time of 5 hours 49 minutes 46 seconds. That was a huge win over second place Alexandra Morova of Russia in 6:05. Courtney Olsen from the US was third in 6:08. On the men's side, Piet Wiersma of the Netherlands finished the 86-kilometer route in 5 hours 25 minutes flat. He was just 45 seconds ahead of second place Dan Mosaluska of South Africa. Third was Degefa Johannes Lavudo of Ethiopia in 5:27. All top 10 men were within 12 minutes of the winner. The GoPro Mountain Games returned to Vail, Colorado with a solid prize purse. The 10K featured a 9th win of this event from Joe Gray with a 36:08 finish time, and Anna Mae Flynn continued her return to the sport with a win in the women's side of 44:16. For the 20K, we saw Adrian Walsh take the ladies' win in 1:31, with Eli Hemming torching the men's race in 1:13. Jack Quenzel, known for his FKT success in recent years on some of the world's most iconic routes, took to the skis this past week up and down Mont Blanc from Chamonix, where he set a new ski FKT of 4 hours 59 minutes 50 seconds, breaking the previous best time of 5:05. He was still 2 minutes off Killian's overall 4:57.34 set while running. Track star Parker Volby was spotted with an interesting pair of shoes while winning the NCAA 10K champs, what looked to be Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 3s with spikes. Sounds like these shoes would not be allowed in pro-level comps, but was legal at the NCAAs. Hoka has launched a new NIL, or Name, Image, Likeness program for young trail athletes. They will be partnering with 3 high schoolers in a unique program that will see one of them, Ella Hagen, crew Heather Jackson at the upcoming Western States 100, before Jackson then mentors her to run UTMB's YCC in August. Benji Anderson and Anthony Fasthorse will also be part of the program, but details on their partnership were not disclosed, although I would expect to see them also race YCC. That's it for this episode. Have a shitty week.